Yo, what's going on, everybody? Clan Brandalorian, really random live. Shout out to Ryan. I was actually doing kind of like a pre-recording live just to kind of make sure everything was working right. And he caught me. I was live in action, so perfect. Yeah, so we're here. So Disney apparently is not really messing with Temuera Morrison right now, just because he was kind of speaking out on certain things, like wanting fans to have him back and all those good things. And me, I'm a huge Boba Fett fan, so I would love to see Temuera Morrison come back. And I mean, especially with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out, I definitely do not think that he is going to be a part of that movie. Maybe he's mentioned, maybe he has some voice work that he's done for the movie, but I'm not too sure. But going forward, it's like, are they gonna use him again soon? Is it gonna be a while before they use him? I'm not too sure. But something that is pretty crazy on the other end is that for Ahsoka season 2, we potentially might have Obi-Wan Kenobi returning. So Ewan McGregor may be in Ahsoka season 2. So that's pretty big news. What do you guys think? I mean, whether you're here live right now or if you're watching the replay, this is like a double whammy for Star Wars right now. So this is like that's like a 1-2 punch. So going forward with Tamora Morrison, so he was just recently speaking at he had an inverse interview. I have it pulled up right here, and that Morrison was confirmed that Boba Fett is currently on the shelf, meaning that Lucasfilm has no immediate plans to bring him back on screen for right now. So this kind of makes me sad because I feel like he could be a main player in The Mandalorian and Grogu, necessarily not being on screen per se, but more so kind of like a background help. So we know that when Boba was in trouble, he reached out to Mando. When Mando gets into trouble, he reaches out to Boba. So I just feel like in the Mandoverse, we need to start pulling these characters together. Now, I know that the Mandalorian and Grogu is focusing on those two characters for Star Wars and the theatrical experience. Grogu is going to bring even non-Star Wars fans to the theater, and fans like myself and like you. We want to see Mando and Grogu on the big screen. So just Star Wars simply being back in theaters is a huge deal. Um, but to be fair, it's just like what are we expecting? I mean, Boba Fett, he's a big guy. I mean, we need him here. Ryan, what's going on, bro? Yeah, guess who's back? I'm back, and you're back too. So that's dope. But yeah, it's just super, super weird how Boba's kind of on the back burner. And the metaphor that was used, he used a very vivid analogy, and he said Boba's like a jar of peaches that's on a shelf, preserved for later and sweeter when opened. So does that mean Boba, when he comes back, does he already know how he's going to be used? Is he going to be that badass character that we want him to be? That a lot of Star Wars fans wanted him to be in the Book of Boba Fett. Um, but yeah, it's super weird. I mean, he joked around that he wasn't receiving any phone calls from Disney or Lucasfilm. We know that from a couple previous interviews and conventions that he's been at, that the Mandalorian or that Boba Fett isn't getting any calls right now. Tamora Morrison pretty much is just waiting to hear back from them. But he was telling us fans to send a fax, an email, a letter to Disney just to get Boba back. So it seems like that might have backfired because, according to reports, Lucasfilm actually reached out to him afterward and basically put Boba on the back burner for the time being because of those comments. Now, if that is 100% true, that's crazy. I mean, could you imagine someone wanting to come back to Star Wars so bad that you get put on the back burner? And it's like Tamora plays this character. In my opinion, Tamora is Boba Fett. He is Jango Fett. He's Cody. He's Captain Rex. We got to hear his live action voice for him during Ahsoka season 1 during the flashback. So I just think that's kind of crazy. If Disney was actually mad at Tamora, that's just kind of bogus in my opinion. It's like, how many actors are out there that want to be in Star Wars and are very, for the role? I mean, Tamora's been there since, the late 90s, early 2000s, because when they were shooting for um Attack of the Clones, they started production probably pretty early, if not just like right in 2000, maybe late 1999. Who knows? Like, I mean, he's always been there. So he's almost been there for 30 years. So yeah, you gotta. Tim was there back in the George Lucas days, and they've definitely used him during the Disney era. But you gotta show him love, man, for wanting to be back in Star Wars. I don't think he should be punished for that. But kind of like I said, I don't know if that's completely true, how that is. But if Disney was mad at him, that's wild. Um, but yeah, that last year at the fan convention, he encouraged fans to contact, Disney. So that's kind of what it was. So it kind of sounds like Disney, or at least the Lucasfilm executives, depending on, how far and how deep their roles go. They weren't too thrilled with Temuera, kind of coming out publicly to fans to kind of bombard them with messages. But something that I've been thinking is, how are they taking this with the hunt for Ben Solo? I mean, they see at Times Square, they see billboards, they see Disney, like Disney World and Disneyland. Fans are out there like, yo, we got to get the hunt for Ben Solo back. So, I mean, if that's one thing, them being loud. I mean, I know Adam Driver isn't like, hey guys, hit them up. They didn't need to do all that. We're here and we're ready for the hunt for Ben Solo. But I mean, if Lucasfilm and Disney are actually getting upset about that, that's kind of weird, man. Give the fans what they want. Give Tamora what he wants. He's right there. But for Boba Fett, it isn't currently planned for any major appearances. We know that. So Tamora's future in Star Wars depends on Lucasfilm reopening that jar of peaches. So we'll see what that is. But on the other hand, kind of let's skip a little bit. Let's go forward to Ewan McGregor and Obi-Wan for Ahsoka season 2. Now this is where things kind of get spicy. I did bring this for a reference. This will be the guy that we see right here, Clone Wars armor, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now that is gonna hit. Now, here we go. These are my two favorite characters, by the way. I mean, Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi, sign me up. But yeah, let's switch gears. Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor. There has been a lot of online chatter, especially recent on social boards, about a crew member claiming that McGregor was on the Ahsoka season 2 set and even letting people hold Ahsoka's lightsabers. Now that sparked some speculations, but I mean, that's the thing. Why would Ewan be there if he wasn't in Ahsoka season 2? I mean, God forbid Ewan wants to go to a Star Wars set. He wants to see his friend Hayden Christensen there, probably, recording some scenes and getting stuff done like that. But I mean, why is he there? He wasn't reported to be there for Ahsoka season 1 when, Hayden was there, or Rosario Dawson's there. I mean, come on. But we all know, as Star Wars fans, if we are to get the Mortis gods in live action, you got to kind of run a course real quick. You don't want these fans who haven't seen the Clone Wars and Rebels to understand what the Mortis gods are and what their arc represents. You would have no idea. Even fans are like, what is he standing on? What's that statue of the guy, holding his, hand out, pointing to what? Yeah, it's the Mortis gods. So there's also rumors that Sam Witwer could be playing the son. Um, we know that Ariana Greenblatt's going to be back for season 2. So this is only setting up for Clone Wars flashbacks, or even Clone War era flashbacks. So we will, in my opinion, I do think that we're going to see the Mortis arc in live action. Maybe a little 10 to 15-minute segment just to like bring everyone up to speed really quick. And I think this would be a really good way to do it. Um, Also, that I have written down here is the official news outlets and Lucasfilm sources have reportedly, or they've repeatedly clarified, that McGregor was not confirmed that he was reprising his role in Obi-Wan as Obi-Wan in Ahsoka season 2. So when that rumor first went viral, that was like last summer, maybe, when they kind of announced that Ahsoka was coming back. But from a comment that he made at a fan event, so that was shut down really quick. It was, I mean, I remember all that, and especially if you're on Instagram or Twitter at that time, everyone was like, okay, yeah, it was just kind of like blown out the water. But Lucasfilm had to step in and actually correct that record, so that's pretty funny. And the lady who plays Harrison Dula, if you didn't know, Ewan McGregor is married to her in real life. That's Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And so yeah, the misquote wasn't really confirmation that he was on set, but I don't think this crew member is gonna be like, "Oh yeah, like that's so cool." He's not gonna make that up. That happened, and I'm firmly standing on that. But that said, that's where the fun starts. I mean, the rumors and leaks, whether they're unverified or not, that's what we talk about here on Clan Brandalorian. We love leaks, we love rumors and speculation more so. It's not about the the more so leaks. It's about the speculation. I love to theorize. I love to make up things in Star Wars and try to figure out what's next. But this was something that really catches my eye, especially with Clone Wars Obi-Wan. I mean, possibly and probably has the best Clone Wars armor. Anakin's cool. Mace Windu's is kind of similar, cool, but it's not Obi-Wan's. Obi-Wan has the GOAT Clone Wars armor, so you can't really, you know, get mad at that. But yeah, Ryan, you have to have the Mortis trio. You got to, bro. Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. I at first when I first seen it was not a huge fan of it. Can't lie. But after I watched it a couple times, I'm like, wow, so Anakin's purpose really is bigger. It's not what I think it is, at the end of Revenge of the Sith. I had to kind of put my nostalgia fandom of Revenge of the Sith because I did end up watching Clone Wars for the first time in 2019, right before COVID. So yeah, that was insane. But yeah, I mean, some of the fans have theorized that, like myself, that McGregor could show up in Clone Wars armor during the sequence tied into Mortis and significant historical flashbacks. Yes, this could go back, way back, especially for fans who haven't seen the Clone Wars. Already pretty much kind of talked in with that. And that is also from Screen Rant. They had some key pieces, like talking about retelling the Jedi story and the way that newcomers can follow in live action is exactly the kind of storytelling that Ahsoka has done before. And we saw that in season one. Although though, guys, that we're not talking from like confirmed canon, the rumor mill is always buzzing. We know that, and there's still even potentials for Abeloth to return and kind of be the kind of like the main antagonist in Ahsoka season 2, especially on Peridea. We know that Thrawn's going to be the big bad in our main galaxy, but in the Peridea galaxy, it's going to be pretty rough to it can't just be Balin. It can't just be this thing that's calling. And that's the thing is we know something is calling to Balin's skull. So we have to see what that big bad is. And I would assume it's either going to be the sun or Abeloth. If all the Abeloth rumors are out the gate, it's probably the sun that's calling to Balin. I mean, another male, speaking to another male, probably really giving him that conflict like, hey, you can take my spot and be immortal forever. He'll probably get Balin with that. So that would be a kind of crazy thing to see. One thing, just kind of to add in here, I know we're talking about Boba, Temuera Morrison, and Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. I do think it would be really, really cool to see Balin's skull, with Rory McCann casted as him now. I think it would be really cool is if he finds the thing that's calling to him, and it's kind of like that bat creature, like the sun, what turned into in Clone Wars. I think that would be cool as if that's what he found, and then he just morphs into Sam Witwer as the sun. Bro, like, that would blow my mind. It would blow everyone's mind. It would be insane. But I do think that that would be really, really cool to see, and then that can kinda throw out all the Abeloth things. I mean, Abeloth is kinda like a star killer in a way, super overpowered, and, Luke can't always save the day. It's, like Legends material always has him out to be. Although that's cool, I did like how they used Luke at the, Mandalorian season 2 finale. I thought that was done really well. But here you can't have toppling big bads. You can't have someone so overpowered to where it's just like, okay, what are we doing here? And especially, when characters get real overpowered, it diminishes Anakin Skywalker's character, right? So there's always those things. But it always keeps the fans speculating. I love that. It's fun. It's fun talking Star Wars and behind the scenes. So yeah, just to wrap this up, guys, what do you think of all this? What does this mean for you as a Star Wars fan? Going forward, we have Temuera Morrison. When does he come back? We have Ewan McGregor. Does he actually show up in Ahsoka season 2? Both of those, I think they're going to happen. I think Temuera will probably be back on screen. I would guess maybe by 2028. I don't think we're going to see his face in this next year or two. So we'll get that stuff figured out. And I also do think that maybe they could really go out on a whim here and show the Mandalorian and Grogu. Maybe the Tales of series this year could be Tales of the Fets. This is where you can get some backstory on Django. We did just talk about this in the recent podcast with Vader Bricks. So go check that out. But we were talking about how we could have 3 episodes of Django and 3 episodes with Boba. So maybe this is the chance to bring back Temuera Morrison, the voice, even though, D. Bradley Baker does the clones in animation. But it'd be cool to hear some Temuera. But yeah, what do you guys think? Are you more ready for to see Boba Fett, or are you more ready to see Obi-Wan in his Clone Wars armor? Pretty dope. Pretty dope. But yeah, guys, let me know down below. Please subscribe. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I mean, we're about to hit 1,000 subscribers. We just eclipsed 900. So we're getting really close to 1,000. So we want to hit that goal right before The Mandalorian and Grogu releases in theaters on May 22nd. And also keep a strong heads up. Next week, we are doing some collaborations with the Saber company, formerly known as Saber Theory. So keep your eyes out, on the lookout here on YouTube, and of course on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. Sorry, those will be dropped there at the bottom on the overlay. So be sure to stay tuned. We are giving away a ton of lightsabers, so come check that out. Be a part of the wave, man. This has been a really fun journey, and I feel like we're starting to really get some good traction here. So I really appreciate everyone who takes their time out of the day to watch the videos, check the channel out, and all that. So big thank you to you guys, and of course Ryan, my guy. You're here for the emergency stream. We had to show it. Pre-Attack of the Clones Adventures with Django and Young Boba would be cool. Yeah, bro, it would. Thank you for showing up to the stream, and thanks for catching my my recording at the beginning. That was absolutely hilarious. I was like, "Oh, someone's actually here." I thought this was just a test live. But no, we were ready. So, yeah, guys, be sure to go check out the channel, subscribe down below. Please let me know down in the comments. You ready for Temuera? You ready for Obi-Wan? Ready for both? Let me know in the comments, guys. We'll see you next